Let's Point Cemetery.
Yep.
I think we can all agree on one thing, and that's that the woods are more haunted than the cemetery.
Yes. Agreed.
Because
And
Yeah.
100%.
other than the random bird, not much going on in the cemetery itself.
That was
Right.
weird.
that bird
Also weird.
scared me. Like it just came out of nowhere.
Did it land or was it just there?
No, like back in the video, like it just came out from a grave. Like I like checked and like you didn't see anything like fall from the sky. So it must have been there for a while and none of us noticed.
That's bizarre. The whole thing was bizarre.
With the woods being haunted, like, well, we obviously went in there with not doing a lot of research, not knowing what had happened there. Probably shouldn't do that. But I
Yeah.
did find that there were murders and hangings there.
Oh.
And I found a story, and it said that a long time ago, I don't exactly know when, but there was this alleged witch who was around, and there was this man. His last name was Blood, and he had 3 kids, and these 3 kids started hanging out with this so-called witch, and the dad, who freaked out and didn't want his kids anywhere near there because he was religious, he went and hanged all 3 of his kids in the woods.
What?
What?
The dad did?
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
They were what's the word?
He-
Impure. They were what's the
So
word?
that was an act of devotion.
Basically, yeah.
Oh man. My mom used to tell me stories from when she was like a teenager going there. And it was Beulah the witch.
Beulah?
That's what she
I've heard of
said.
that. I've
She
heard of
said
that.
Beulah the witch would
Wait,
chase you
there's
out.
a band called the Witch Beulah. You remember that band?
I do not remember that band.
It was probably based on that witch.
Probably was.
Would make
But
sense.
I've definitely heard many stories of people being chased out by a woman.
That's creepy. And
Yeah.
then the lady who was a witch, she ended up living out her life and dying somewhere. And I don't think she's buried at the cemetery. But also, I read about so many other people claiming that the woods are more haunted than the actual cemetery. And so
Oh.
that leads into the theory that Tyler said.
And I never could find any proof for my theory, but I still think that the whole cemetery was actually where the woods are now, and for one reason or another, it was shifted over.
I definitely agree.
Well, yeah, I mean, and most of the trees in there were pretty new, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of those trees were big. They couldn't have been older than 20 years old.
Yeah, probably
Right.
20 years old, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was definitely gives a really creepy, awful vibe.
It does, and people will say that they'll be sitting next to the woods like how we were, and if you sit there long enough, you'll start to see shadows walking around in the woods.
Oh.
So
I definitely kept looking into the woods, like expecting to see something.
it's like you're expecting it, but then it doesn't happen, but you can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it, like you feel like someone's watching you, like because where we were towards the corner, like you could look all the way back. There you go. And I'm sorry. And like there's just like this weird there it is. Weird clearing. And like I just was like, man, something is just like it's creeping me out.
And then I read another story. Many local, like not locals, but people who come there will have a phantom dog attack them, and they'll hear dogs barking, but none of the neighbors own dogs, which leads me to remember when I heard a dog barking in the woods.
You did.
What if that was a phantom dog?
Yeah.
And I'm already horrified of like real life
Back
dogs.
home with us.
No, not bringing home a phantom dog that attacks people.
No. Well, and I kept hearing gunshots, which I thought was weird. And
Yeah.
you think they're fireworks.
I thought they were fireworks, yeah.
I thought they were gunshots.
I want to talk this. I haven't talked about this yet. This board. If you saw in the beginning of the video, we found a board. And you know what I did with it? I took it home. Because why not? why not take a Ouija board home that you found in the woods and have no idea where it came
You
from?
just
Why not?
Why
you
not?
just happen to walk to the one section of the woods where there's a Ouija board laying out.
Yeah, so explain your point of view when you found it.
Well,
Not too much.
not too much. So I had to relieve myself, and so I was like, you can't like get into the woods because it's so like brambly and briary. There's just so much in there. So I just like kind of walked as close as I could, and I was just doing my business. And I looked down and I see that the lid, but it's flipped over. And so then I, finished up and I kicked the lid over, and sure enough, it's just right there, 1970s Ouija board, like not even like a new one, like a really old one. And so then I grabbed I actually like looked in there and I could see something up against the tree, which later we would find out that was like the rest of it. And I just brought that back to you guys. And yeah. And then, excuse me, Tyler very bravely climbed in there and just yanked it out. And there it was. And the weirdest part was, this is weird to me. There was no planchette.
Yeah.
Everything else was very easily there. No planchette.
Why throw the board away and keep the planchette? It just doesn't
Makes no sense.
But
Unless they're trying to separate them for some reason.
I don't know because, well, in my opinion, the board is just there. The planchette is just there. You are the tool. You're the portal that makes them able to communicate. It's your energy being placed
Right.
on there. But also, this board, oh geez. Oh man. Oh man, I'm gonna get possessed. But this board is not even by what, Hasbro? This isn't by Hasbro. This is by the Parker brothers in Salem, Massachusetts. And when you look on the box, which Tyler pointed out that it has the number on it somewhere, but it's board 600. And you know what is almost 600? 666. So that obviously got me thinking, like, why would somebody throw this in the woods out of nowhere? Oh yeah, right here, number 600. So it was number 600 off the line. This is heavy duty. It's not like the other board that I have. The other board, you could just snap it in half, but this is
Legit.
wood.
Well, this is actual wood with the board.
The design on it, like it's laid down onto it, because it's not perfect. You can see where it's crooked, but it's sturdy. But I also wanted to be the person who was like, hey, I'm gonna see if this is possessed. I'm gonna see like if anything's attached to it, and I bring it home and see what happens. But it's been here for, well, we went 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard voices, seen anything. Like, have you?
No.
The cats haven't been acting up, and you know how cats are like, they're
animals.
like nothing has happened out of the ordinary. Like it's been sitting in this room for 2 weeks. I haven't touched it, and every time I come in here to feed my fish, I just expect like the whole room to be like knocked over and like just like everything like be upside down and
Stuff floating around.
Yeah, but like there's nothing. I get no weird feelings. So now I'm like, why did these kids or whoever throw this random board into the woods?
Well, okay, so this is my own weird theory, but it freaked me out because like the entire time, like we found the lid, we found the rest of it, but we didn't find the planchette. And like in my mind, I just kept being like, I need to find this. Like I need to find this. And I kept going back over to that same spot and trying to like get in there. And you like literally can't get in there.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff. And I was just like, it almost felt like a trail to the woods, like here's the lid and then the board is a little bit farther in. I almost wonder if the planchette is like in there somewhere. Like I still think about it. Like I just felt drawn to get it. Like I was like, I need to complete this set. I don't know.
That
probably not a good idea.
It probably isn't, but I feel like you're having like you're drawn to it for a reason. Like it wants us to find it.
That's what I'm saying, like a trail. Like I'm gonna leave little breadcrumbs along the way till you get a little bit deeper in there.
The phantom dog attacks.
Then a phantom dog.
I've been looking for a new pet.
Yeah. It's like an old lady with her dog, and she's like, "Go get him." That's my weird little theory. I just felt super drawn the entire time.
Maybe that's why it's separated. It's not. It's inert without all the pieces together.
Well, that's what made me wonder. Like maybe someone had like a weird experience with it, and was like, we have to keep these separate, right?
If I didn't know anything, I would do that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, separate these pieces.
Well, and Tyler, you kept saying that. You kept saying, "I'm pretty sure." Like they're like, they probably kept it. They probably kept it, which was weird. But you like kept saying that.
But also, why would they keep it if they threw it in the woods? If they threw it in the woods, they had to have been terrified by someone, something. Like
Yeah.
it could have been maybe one of the pissed off neighbors coming, being like, "What are you guys doing?" And then they just like threw it real fast and ran away. But
Well,
Right.
it was in the box.
Okay, yeah, that's
Throw it in fast. They took the time to box it up.
yeah, like
Well, yeah, exactly. No, that's because like it was like it was just laying up against a tree. Like it was placed. It was not just tossed.
yeah. I remember so I have like a notebook here of like facts that I found. There is a man with a pitchfork who guards the cemetery. And at one point in the video, I said something about a man with a pitchfork. Like I didn't see a man with a pitchfork or anything. I just said, "Man, it would be weird if a man with like a pitchfork showed up."
Really?
What?
Yeah. You guys
Wow.
you guys were like across the cemetery or something. I was kind of talking to myself. And and,
Wow.
and so when
Par for the course.
when I found this, I was like, that was like totally weird because like I was picturing like a man with a pitchfork like guarding like where that iron gate was. So that was creepy.
That
And
was weird.
they say that like screams from small children will be heard, which that could be the 3 kids that were hanged in the woods.
Right.
And
Is that historical or is that like?
yes, it actually happened.
It makes sense too. I mean, back then, if someone said witch, the whole town was in a panic. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if your kids are associating with the witch, they've got to be cleansed quickly.
Quickly.
And then I saw this and it says that there are reports of an older black lady that was said to be hanged by the KKK, and she comes back to play her guitar and sing religious songs under a tree. And that could be why we were drawn to one of the trees. Like, you know how
Yeah.
those big trees, they just kept giving us those vibes.
Yeah. There's definitely there's that one really big tree.
Yeah, that one tree was really.
Yeah.
Wait, so was that the same thing that you were talking about, like the hanging tree?
Yeah. Which one was the hanging tree? It had to be that big one towards the back, right?
I
Or
think
did you think it was a different
I think it was.
That was the only one big enough that it could have been.
Yeah.
one? Right. So it looked like it'd been there forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Did you notice anything else that like may have been like they may have cut a tree down or something?
I didn't notice anything like cut or like knocked over except for like that one cemetery plot that looked like it was
The one that I couldn't leave alone.
the one
Yeah.
that like looked like it was dug up and like moved because all you saw was the cement lining.
The cornerstones for it, and then what was left of a few gravestones.
Well,
No,
you
it's
know
towards
what?
the back.
There
Yeah, that back left corner where
Yeah.
wasn't there a tree stump in the back corner that we
Oh.
set the board on in the spirit portal. Was that a tree stump?
Oh. Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was.
that would have been right with that family grave.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
and
And
it
that
was a
huge-
big tree stump.
And a huge mound of dirt.
Yeah, maybe they dug up the tree that the lady was hanged from.
Maybe. Yeah.
That
That's
one,
a pretty big tree.
I don't know if that one is for sure. It just says that there's reports that it happened. I couldn't find any factual evidence, but
Right.
literally on the way back, I just kept looking at like article after article, and I'm like, Tyler, get this. And
Oh,
then I'm
man.
like freaking myself out, and I'm like, "Ooh, there's a board in the back seat. Like that's creepy. I don't want to read about this anymore."
Yeah. I mean, like I mean, it's weird because like the road itself, there's no signs because everybody steals them.
Yeah.
The cemetery had no sign. Like you could have driven past it and never known what it was.
Mhm.
But I definitely that whole road was just creepy. It gave me the like a vibe. And then we get to the cemetery and I'm like, oh, this is fine. This is like nothing. Then I find a Ouija board.
Overall, like the cemetery felt peaceful,
It did. It really did.
except for like the birds. Like I know how you noticed the birds. Like they wouldn't fly over the cemetery. They just fly around the woods.
True.
Except for
And
that one bird that was on the ground.
yeah, he didn't make it.
The one in the cemetery couldn't fly.
Yeah. I guess he was in the right place.
And so like that was just weird to me too. Like why would the birds not fly over the cemetery?
They wouldn't. They would fly all around it and like all around the trees. I mean, granted, there were no trees in there, but still, usually birds fly over, and they wouldn't. They really didn't fly. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
That was
No, I
weird.
did. Yeah.
It was weird. They would fly like all the way around it, but never in it.
Mhm.
And now I feel like we're left with more questions than answers.
Yeah, I know.
Why?
I don't know. And most people who go there, like, if I'm like, you know, we posted stories about it and talked about it, and people are always like, "Oh, wow, did you go there at night? You didn't go there at night." Like, you got to go there at night. Like, apparently, that's when everything kind of comes alive. I would not want to be by those woods at night, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Heck
Like
no.
it felt like because we were there for what, an hour, hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, we were there for a while.
Because we were there as it was getting dark. And you could tell that as it got darker, the feelings by the woods got stronger, almost as if
Heavier.
it was like pulling you towards it. Like it was wanting you to go in there and see what was in there, which is
Yeah.
horrifying.
I wanted to find that freaking planchette.
Yeah.
Hunt that thing down.
The first voice that I heard, which I will put the audio, the clip.
That's a little bit as well, whatever. That's a little bit as well, whatever. That's a little bit as well, whatever.
So I could not figure out for the life of me what it was saying. It just sounded like a dark voice.
Yeah.
But I thought that it was just multiple voices combining into one because they were talking, and I thought that it was their voices at the same time. But
Right.
but the voices just aren't deep enough. Like
And it's clearer.
yeah, and it
The
sounded like
voice, yeah.
right by the camera.
That's the weird part because like
Yeah.
like Tyler and Timo and you all sounded like how it would sound on a recording, but that one sounded like it was like recorded
Right
like
up.
into like right up there, like into a mic.
Yeah.
And then you went through, and I'll put the clip up here what he did. You
Up. One of the few of them in here that's actually broken. That's a little bit as well, whatever. That. One of the few of them in here that's actually broken. That's a little bit as well, whatever.
Explain what you did.
Yeah. So when I heard about that, I was like, the, well, Raph told me like they heard something weird on the recording, and I was like, all right, it's probably just some kind of wind noise. I hear a lot of this kind of stuff like all the time. It's probably just a wind noise. So I listened to it and I was like, this is not a wind noise. I was because it's super weird because like with a wind noise, you will get a high frequency like interruption. But with this, you could hear a very low frequency, but also the sibilant noise of like what your mouth makes, like those high pitched, like wind moving through your lips noise. So to me, that never happens unless it's a voice. So I got really curious, and what I just like kind of like tried to eliminate Tyler and Timo's voices from the recording by just like continually isolating them and taking their levels down and taking up the level of the voice that we captured. And I don't know if I might have done more harm than good, because in the end of the day, when you hear it, maybe it sounds like that, but maybe it's just because of like all of the changes that I made to the recording that makes it sound different. So, but it did sound like you could hear a voice that said something.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounded like Tooth to me. But
Well, then when you go back and look at what's happening in the video, Tyler was brushing off a grave to see what it said. And
Yeah.
what did you think that the voice said?
I thought that it sounded like the voice said A2, like
A2.
for you two or and you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Super
et Brude, like
Yeah.
Latin. Yeah, okay,
Ugh.
that's creepy.
That's even worse.
also
That makes sense though, Latin,
Mhm.
maybe.
and the grave it said pain, and it was Tyler was like reading it and explaining like that they were holding hands, and it kind of sounds like it could be my tomb. Like maybe it was the
Yeah.
ghost of a person saying like that's my tomb, like that's my grave, that's where I am. So it could be
Okay.
that too. But if you're watching this, drop a comment and let me know what you think it says, because I want to hear your opinions too.
Yeah. When you sent that video to me, I listened to it over and over again, and I like listened to it with headphones and just like I like zoned out, and I kept thinking like it sounded like it said it's here, or but like when Patty did it, it sounded like tomb or tooth. Like I totally heard that when he isolated it. But I feel like the sound like it like needed everything around it to like it was like pushing through. You know what I mean? Like it needed all the other like ambient noise.
Yeah, no. I mean,
It's like it needed it all to like
when
make
you hear it all together,
it makes more. You can hear it
there's
clear.
more to it. You can tell that there's like a lot. There's a phrase there, but
It's layered. Like
Yeah.
like it's here or like it tune like yeah. No, I don't know. Whatever it said was. You could hear it. I mean, it was definitely there.
Definitely sounded like two syllables. Like
Yes.
it said like
Yeah.
something, like two words at least.
Yeah.
And well, the thing is that at the three of us, we had no equipment on us. All I had was my camera, and it just sounded way too close to the camera. And like a lot of our equipment doesn't talk, so
Right.
Well, the only equipment we have that does talk is the spirit portal, and only when you turn it on and off.
Yeah, and it
Right.
made a woman's voice, and that was clearly a man's voice.
Yeah.
When I was editing and I heard it, I just kept listening to it over and over, and I'm like, that's fucking creepy. It sounds like a dark voice. And like, when you just hear that dark voice, it creeps you out because you're like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the hell? And then I also noticed that was right before we saw the bird. And so I have no explanation for it whatsoever.
Yeah. There isn't. It sounds like strained, like it's pushing through whatever to get onto there. But it's weird as it's so clear, but also so distorted.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Like you just can't make it out.
Multi-dimensional.
Yeah. And then for the other voice that was captured on the spirit portal when you were in the woods looking for the board and it said help, it was a more feminine voice and it just faintly goes help. So
that was creepy because that was literally when I was in the woods looking to see what that was. I was in it.
but I noticed that we didn't get any other voices besides that unless we were over by the woods. Like there was some humming, and that made me wonder if the humming it was that lady who how she sings her religious songs,
Right.
Her humming her songs.
That makes sense
because it was under the tree where I heard the humming. So could that be it?
Probably, yeah. I mean, definitely. The help makes sense. The
Mhm.
help makes sense because that was creepy. That was like strategic. Like the minute, like I don't know.
But now, is there something in the woods that needs help? Is it one of the kids that needs help? Is it somebody who got murdered in the woods? Do they need help? Like, are they trying to give us a message that, like, hey, come into the woods, help us, help us?
Well, if there's a kid saying help and calling for help in the woods, I'm staying the heck away.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Get away from kids.
Kid voices are definitely like
Don't go to them.
Yeah, I mean,
is there black-eyed kids?
Yeah, oh man.
No, the black-eyed children. Yeah.
Oh no. Other than all of that, like I didn't see any shadows, no apparitions. I'm still looking at all the pictures I took on my phone and on the camera, but other than that, I don't think there was really anything else. It was just the feelings that we all had.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the feelings, the woods. Like I said, I kept just staring into the woods. Like I kept finding myself just staring. Like I know something is watching me, and but like far off. Like I just kept getting this this vision in my head of something creepy.
Like normally when we go and investigate somewhere, and I take that film camera I have with, I'll go through the whole roll of film and still be trying to take more pictures because as we're walking around, I'll be like, I need to take a picture here, and I think I went through 12 or 13 exposures on that roll of film at the cemetery because I just nothing was standing out to even take a picture of it.
And we went to a Bachelor's Grove, which is near Chicago. And when we were there, Tyler was like, I gotta take a picture of like all of this, like, oh man. But then at Blood's Point, it's like nothing.
Yeah, there were spots at Bachelor Grove where she kept going over and looking around, and I'm like, you're right in my way. I need to take that picture.
Wow. That's hilarious. Yeah, man. That I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. But like I said, it felt really harmless at first.
It did.
And I think the cemetery is fine. I definitely think it's the woods and the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, there's literally like a house right there. Like, you can like peek over the fence. There's like someone's like driveway.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I want to know if those like people have had experiences like living next to one of the most haunted cemeteries in Illinois. Like, there's no way they haven't experienced something unless they're just complete skeptics and don't care, and all they care about is keeping trespassers out.
We
could be.
Yeah, I had a girl who I talked to who was going to be on the podcast, and she told like she had a ton of blood point stories, but she just like was going to do the podcast, and I haven't talked to her since.
Wow.
She was going to do it, and like then all of a sudden she was just like, I don't think I have that many stories, but like she had a lot of stories, and like she had friends that lived on Bloods Point Road, and they had like poltergeist activity in their house, like stuff always happening, like moving around, cabinets and doors, water turning on, like your basic poltergeist activity. But like people that live on that road like have stuff happen.
And then it's like they don't want to talk about it. Like
Yeah.
it's because they don't want to draw attention to it, so then people don't
Yeah.
want to come.
Yeah.
But
And a lot of people get chased out.
yeah, I heard. Well, there is a story that there's like a clown that chases people out, but then I read farther and found a news story, and it was just a neighbor who around Halloween he chased him out because he was sick of him being there at midnight.
It's kind of fun.
That's kind of funny and kind of frightening. He was like early clown scare. Remember the clown scare videos?
I was talking about that the other day. I was like, man, I wish we could go back to 2016 when the only worry I had in my life was about being chased down the street by a killer clown.
Killer clown, exactly.
My question is, are they chasing people off because they just don't want people there? They want their privacy and their space, or are they chasing people off because they're sick and tired of people going in there with Ouija boards and doing rictuals and getting their houses and shit haunted?
Like, hear me out though. Like, if you live there and you're gonna chase people off in a clown suit, you're asking for more people to come.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right?
Like, I want to get chased out by a clown. That's awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
And I mean, if you're gonna chase someone out, don't do a clown in Illinois.
No.
You got like, see, like when I went there, like the layout was completely different than I thought it would be in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was gonna be like kind of off the beaten path, and you kind of had to walk there, and it's just like right there on the road, like literally like on a corner lot, which is also can be kind of weirdly spiritual, but like I don't know. Like she used to say that like the Beulah the witch would chase you out, and like people would always hear gunshots, and like I definitely heard those
gunshots.
I know they were gunshots. Fireworks.
Maybe gunshots. I don't know.
I think
Illinois, you never know which it is.
No, you don't, especially around where we're from.
I want to know what ley lines it's on, like the woods, because that's crazy.
Oh yeah, and if there's water nearby, that's always like the native people. Like I wonder who lived there at one point. It'd be interesting to know like how far back that goes.
It did come into my head like possible like Indian burial grounds, because it is Illinois and there's Indian burial grounds everywhere, and some of them aren't marked and you don't know where. So what if like deep in the woods there's old Indian burial grounds that we don't even know that we're stepping on?
Right. Yeah, and like I think Tyler hit it on the head when he said that like those graves were had to be moved at one point, and that like probably left bodies in the woods.
And that's disturbed energy.
Right. Well, there's something like very unsettled in there. Like you just get like a very unsettled, a very watchful eye that's like keeping an eye on you. You know what I mean? But also drawing you in.
Yeah. And then I also want to know like how many people have brought Ouija boards and like let out energy, and how many people have done seances and let energy in. Like there's like with how popular the cemetery is and how many people go there, like how much energy did people bring in, and who knows if they let bad energy, good energy, like we don't know. And so there could be just a whole massive mix of energies from past, present, future, just all in the woods, just like wanting you to come in and experience it.
Right. Well, and the fact that we found such an old Ouija board, like the fact that it's so old, like somebody had to have done like to ditch that in the woods. That's super weird.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a collectible item.
Right. It's not like you went to like Target and bought one and you're like, hey, let's try it. Like that had to be like like old. Like that had to be like with someone for a long time. And you said it was made in Salem, Massachusetts?
Yeah, the bottom says Parker Brothers Inc., Salem, Mass, USA. And then above that it says Ouija, William Fold, Mystifying Oracle, and the distinctive design of the package are trademarks for the talking board sets.
When did the Ouija board come out?
Yeah.
Like,
Fold released the William Fold guy. He made the first board in the 20s as a what do you call it? It was a way to just entertain his house guests.
Sure.
But it was officially released, like mass produced, I want to say, in the late 60s, early 70s.
This one says 1972.
Yeah, it was kind of just a novelty item. Like the really rich people during their parties would break one out just to have a laugh.
Yeah, because they all came from like New York, Massachusetts, everywhere over there. I have a video on my channel about like the Ouija board, and basically, literally, people just used them at parties, and then over the years, it's become more of a talking board, because that's why it says on every single box that it's ages 8 to adult. Like, kids used to use them because they were used at parties, and just over the years, it's dramatically changed into what it is today.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't think the board was there that long, or else it would be in a lot worse condition because it's wood.
It's
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
if it had been in the woods for more than a day or two, it would have been just ruined just from the dew on the ground.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
And like it was up against like it was placed. Am I wrong by saying it was placed?
I didn't.
It doesn't look like
it was.
Yeah, how did you find it?
It was well, the board was still in the box, leaned against the tree, so like it wasn't just like you said, it wasn't just tossed in there.
Yeah. Well, and then that's what I said. Like I keep going back to that, but like the fact that it like the lid was just there. You know what I mean? And like it was just there, like outside the woods. And then and you look like it was like you could have drew a line from where I found it to where it was, like the actual board. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what that freaking planchette is.
But what I want to do is once the leaves fall and it like late October, I want to go back and I want to see more into the woods. And I think we should all go again because it was awesome.
Not going to the woods.
Who's that going?
I'll be on the outside.
You can film us from the outside.
I'll stand there and watch, and I'll watch Tyler walk in, and I'll be like, is it safe?
Well, I just like I want to know if that's like owned by somebody, if like we could get in there. You know what I mean? Permission or just go for it, but
I think we should just
Go
go.
in the woods, but not at night.
yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go there at night and see like what's going on.
Well, we can go there, like be there at the day as it's transitioning into night, and then just be like, oh, we lost track of time.
Yeah, we'll probably enter a time warp.
Oh yeah, you could.
Enter a
Man.
new dimension, and
Yeah.
It wasn't our fault. We were in a time.
Sorry guys, we were in that time warp for 3 years.
we
Yeah, I don't know.
Ethos 4.
Yeah, there's yeah, like everything's changed. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I definitely want to get back in the woods.
Yeah, we
I'm
need
down.
to.
I'm
We need
down.
to find the planchette.
I don't know if you should connect those two. Someone ditched that thing for a reason.
Hey, I'll be the one to do it, and then I'll tell you what happened.
That's when Tyler calls, you're just like floating around.
Don't
And he's
bring
like,
it.
hey, we need some help. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think the fact that the planchette wasn't there is significant. I don't know. It was planted, but like, I don't know. Like I said, like it's so old.
It is. Like,
What are you gonna do with that thing? You know, you can't just leave that.
yeah, I mean, you could and let somebody else deal with it, but
I mean, I probably would have. I didn't touch it. I was like, I'm not touching it.
I think we're gonna wrap this up, and Whew, that was just a crazy experience.
That was a crazy experience. I'm excited.
Thanks for being on here, and I'm sure we're gonna have more adventures in the future.
I hope so. It's really fun. It's really like I love you guys.
We love you too.
Oh yeah.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.